anticipating for that.
Yeah. So number one, I don't think we're even close to that at this point, unfortunately. Right. So, one of the things you look for, what we saw Terra Luna collapse in crypto. That was a big event, right? So you saw crypto really seeing some of these, but it didn't go to the extent where people started to totally freak out about their crypto holdings. So that tells me crypto still has more downside to go. I think at minimum 12, 13,000 on Bitcoin. I even have a worst case scenario of 3,500, which would mirror the Amazon collapse in the .com era, right? So Amazon dropped 95% from peak to trough in the .com collapse. If you look at like Amazon, what it is today, and ultimately is Bitcoin that type of big entity, then that may be the foreboding for what we could see there. In the stock market, you still have people that are buying the dip. One of the key notes about when a market finally bottoms, it's when everyone's way too scared to buy the dip, right?
The cryptocurrency market is waiting for the Ethereum merge, but Bitcoin seems to be having a hard time finding speed up. There is a good chance that the switch to proof of stake will have an effect on all cryptocurrencies. However, Bitcoin might only change for a short time, even if there is a ripple effect with positive steps. Hey there, this is Money Talks. In today's video, former chief market strategist at InTheMoneyStocks.com Gareth Soloway talks about the latest market moves and why he thinks Bitcoin and stocks will crash while gold will go up. Gareth also talks about his crypto allocation for 2022 and when he thinks is the best time to buy Bitcoin in a bear market. Make sure you watch all the way to the end because Gareth Soloway reveals how the Fed is planning to hide the recession while the midterm elections are still going on.
So we're definitely not close yet. I think just at bare minimum, we have to revisit the pre-COVID highs. So if you go back to February of 2020 in the stock market, that's probably at bare minimum where we have to go. And I think that's just if we don't go into a recession. So just the tightening that's going on, the Fed tightening monetary policy, stopping stimulus, the government obviously not able to print quite as much as they were during COVID. I think that's where you're going. If we enter a recession, that's where you could start to see us go even lower than those levels. So one of the biggest concerns I have is that we're entering this new phase of the market where long-term investors are really going to struggle. If you look at the long-term investor, they've really been in control since really 2009. I mean, every dip's been bought. We've made new all-time high after new all-time high. And there really hasn't been a scenario where we've had a long bear market. However, I think now you're starting to get into that situation because the Fed is going to be handcuffed from printing us out of the next recession in a meaningful way because the inflation is going to stay too high. So let's take a look at some charts here. I want to bring up some charts, show you guys what I got going on here. This is the Bitcoin chart. You can see we're beautifully bouncing off of the 2017 highs. This is the high going back to 2017. We bounced here, and now we're retesting. Bitcoin may see upside to about 23.5, then I think down to 13 to 12. And then if we go to the spiders here, take a look at the spiders.
Flag right there? Is that a
What's
bear
that?
flag? Was that a bear flag on the bitch on the is there a bear flag on the Bitcoin chart?
Yeah, right here or here.
Yeah, right there.
Yep. So that is the only caveat is I feel like you've had bear flag right here and another one here. And so it's almost too easy to think that the bear flag will work out perfectly. So my guess is everyone's expecting us to break lower in Bitcoin. People are kind of feeling like that right now. So my guess is you'll have a little bit of a short-term move up, get a few more people bullish, and then we'll probably retrace to this channel, right? So this was a beautiful channel that price stayed within. It broke, and oftentimes what happens is you go back and retrace to that level, right? So my guess is there's a decent chance we go right back here, then we see the bigger move to the downside on the charts. So yeah, I mean, this is all weird, right? Because the chart, you're right now it's a little bit more bearish, although it is a rounded bottom a little bit, which is not quite as ideal bear flag as this one was over here. But it's certainly, again, there's no denying that Bitcoin still to me has downside. And I would just counter that with, just for people out there thinking about it, there's been a lot of people that have said, oh, the lows are in at 17.5. How does that make sense when this is the first bear market for Bitcoin where the Fed isn't printing money, right? So really, if anything, this should be the worst bear market of Bitcoin's history because it's the one where the Fed's not quantitative easing, right? So yeah, I mean, that's just some crazy
Yeah.
stuff going on here.
It launched in 2008, 2009, and they were bailing out the banks and doing
Right.
QE at that time. So they've been doing QE ever since, right?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, and then you had QE1, QE2, 2.5, then COVID, and then I mean it's been printing and basically down to zero interest rates since that point. This is the first period where really we're seeing that pulling back on monetary policy and tightening. So to me, that tells me that it could be unfortunately worse than past ones. But I do think for Bitcoin's case that wherever it bottoms out, that's going to be an amazing buying opportunity. I don't think Bitcoin's ever going away at this point. I think it's going to be something that we're with us for the long term as the digital gold. And so I'm eagerly awaiting moves down so I can actually accumulate some more Bitcoin. So yeah, just quickly on the S&P chart here, I'll quickly go over this. Number one, what a move up, and like you said, bear market rally, right? I mean, was that an incredible move up, almost nonstop? But look at where it stopped.
I got short squeeze on that. I got short squeeze on that rally.
That was it, man. I mean, when you got to the highs, what did we see? We saw everyone saying, "Oh, the bear market's over," and all this stuff, and that's a dead indicator that it's now going to reverse. I mean, it's this contrarian psychology that makes good traders and investors. And just thinking about that, as soon as you start to see on Twitter people saying, "Oh, the bottom's in, new bull market," what did we see? We saw like GameStop, AMC, Bed Bath Beyond. They were all running crazy. And it was like, people were, the Wall Street bets crowd was trying to relive the heyday of 2021. And it's like, well, dude, it's not quite that same market condition because now the Fed's tightening, right? So people had, they just don't realize that. A lot of them are newer investors. We saw, I mean, the chart on Bed Bath Beyond is just incredible. Like to see this pop and how quickly it deflated. I mean, that's nuts, absolutely nuts. But that's the nature of it. So going back to the spiders, look at the support area here. That's where we bounced. We're still having a nice little bounce today. I think there could be a little bit more upside, but eventually I do think we're heading down to this pre-COVID high over here on the charts. So I think, again, short-lived rally here, not like the last one. This bear market push or bounce could last for a week or two, but not like a month or two like the last one. And then I do think we roll over in late September, October, and into year end. Yeah. So number one, I don't think we're even close to that at this point, unfortunately. Right. So, one of the things you look for, what we saw Terra Luna collapse in crypto. That was a big event. Right. So you saw crypto really seeing some of these, but it didn't go to the extent where people started to totally freak out about their crypto holdings. So that tells me crypto still has more downside to go. I think at minimum 12, 13,000 on Bitcoin. I even have a worst case scenario of 3,500, which would mirror the Amazon collapse in the .com era, right? So Amazon dropped 95% from peak to trough in the .com collapse. If you look at like Amazon, what it is today, and ultimately is Bitcoin that type of big entity, then that may be the foreboding for what we could see there. In the stock market, you still have people that are buying the dip. One of the key notes about when a market finally bottoms, it's when everyone's way too scared.
What do you think about Gareth Soloway's crypto use? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like this post. Sign up and looking forward to the next show. Thanks for watching.